Copywriters. Let's talk about hooks, headlines, and leads, like how to write them, how to get the attention of your target market, of your prospect. So this actually came out of a subscriber question. He said, Roy, can you give me more insight into your process for writing compelling headlines and leads? I'm a new copywriter, so any advice you could give would be appreciated. Thanks, G. So first and foremost, I will say that writing a great hook, writing a great headline, writing a great lead is all about the idea. And when I'm doing any kind of copywriting work, I'm always on the lookout for what is the idea that this entire thing is going to hinge on, right? And frankly, I'm happy to spend like 50% of the time that I would spend on a project just making sure that I've nailed down the right idea, and then everything else can come much quicker out of that. And when I capture an idea, when I find an idea, like that's often the most important element for me for actually making sure that I have something. And when I find an idea like that, that's how an entire sales letter starts. But like what idea should you use? Well, first and foremost, like the whole reason that you would even consider having a swipe file as a copywriter is that you're looking for proven ideas. You're looking for ideas that have worked to actually get people's attention before. And it's great. You can actually start your swipe file with an ad that interested you, like enough to pull you in. Well, it probably has a good hook. It probably has a good headline. It probably has a good lead. If it got you to respond, well, then probably there's even more that's great about it. So you should study that. You can also look at ads that have worked on a mass market basis for what they're doing. Now, I specifically often recommend against the practice of swiping, like taking this headline formula or this chunk of copy and putting it in yours, because it just doesn't, number one, it doesn't work nearly as well. And number two, it actually could be illegal in some cases, depending on how much you're doing. But if you understand the deeper psychology of the advertising, if you understand like, oh, here's what they're doing, like, they're getting my attention by offering a checklist. What does that mean? Well, it's like an easy thing to follow to complete a process. Okay, that's kind of cool. Do I have a way that I can like identify either using the word checklist or something else where it's an easy thing to follow that represents that I can share? Okay, so that's a proven idea. It's a proven idea, or even like how to in the past has been a proven idea. Or John Capel's famous, they laughed when I sat down at the piano, but when I started to play, well, what is that? Like somebody doubted me and then I proved them wrong. Like somebody doubted me in a potentially embarrassing situation and then I proved them wrong. So first off, you want to recognize like there are proven ideas that are based on like underlying psychology. Second, you recognize that there's actually three different big idea types. And I think that I'm the first person that ever like broke it down quite like this. Any great ad, typically either one, it offers to solve an urgent problem. Two, it introduces a 10x opportunity, like an opportunity for what you want that is 10 times greater than what you have access to right now. Or three, it actually makes an imminent prediction. And that imminent prediction is going to lead to a situation that's either going to create a problem or create an opportunity that you have to respond to. Now, I taught that. I went into much more detail in my high velocity copywriting program. But fundamentally, like the big idea, urgent problem, 10x opportunity, or imminent prediction, like if you are building your ad around, oh, this checklist introduces you to this 10x opportunity. That's like an example of proven psychology tied to an opportunity. Okay, so that gets me in the door with the person. Now, next up, I consider how am I positioning this urgent problem or 10x opportunity or imminent prediction as something that's like a new bit of information, a new angle, a new story, a new understanding of the problem that my prospect has, a new source of the solution, and maybe a new person involved or a new discovery. Like what new thing that they don't know about yet and that the market in general doesn't know about is going to attract their attention? Because greater than anything else, like we get a big dopamine hit when we discover something new. our brains are like trained to look for new things. And so a new thing that's relevant to this problem, that's relevant to this opportunity, that's relevant to this prediction, like is what leads me into whatever the idea is and how I'm going to present it inside the hook, the headline, the lead. So I'm always looking at like what has changed, what is new, what new thing was discovered, what new opportunity is uncovered, like how is there a new solution? And unless it's like a straight up, like the prospect has a new problem in their life that suddenly they need to have solved, like flat tire, you don't need to do like a whole lot of clever, creative marketing to get people's attention if they have a flat tire. The newness is in the fact that they have this new problem that they need to have solved immediately. But there are much bigger opportunities in completely different markets where you as the copywriter, you as the marketer are introducing this newness, the new angle, new story, new understanding of the problem, new source of the solution, the new person who introduced this, the new discovery. And then we get into like the hook, the headline, and the lead. So those are kind of three different things. A hook I consider to be an idea. A headline and lead are actually chunks of copy that are written. So the hook is a curiosity-provoking idea that is tied to the big idea of the promotion. So one way that you can think about this is micro, macro. Like micro is small, macro is big. And so if your big idea is like investing in this brand new like sensors technology, you may start by focusing on one particular application of those sensors. And then you zoom out and you say, wow, but this is a gigantic market. That is just one tiny piece of. So that's like the hook could be in this like one particular really interesting application of this technology. And if you invest in it, like you're going to make massive profits off of that. But then you figure out it's part of this bigger thing. And that's really exciting and interesting. Or alternately, the hook can actually be is some kind of example or parable, some kind of story of like a parable or an example of being somebody that had the problem and then solved it, and the way that their life was made better because of that, or somebody that pursued the opportunity. There's all. I don't want to go into too much detail there, but like some kind of example of the big idea. Some kind of story about the big idea, and that leads to that pulls your prospect, pulls your reader into your message. So once you have the hook, once you have like this idea that's the introduction to the story essentially that you're going to tell in your promotion, then you start to think about the specific what am I going to say very first to get their attention? And then what am I going to say to build on that? So the purpose of the headline is it's just enough of the hook to loop the readers or the viewers in, depending on the medium you're using, or it could be listeners or whatever. And so essentially the headline, the first words that come out is really just meant to buy readership. It's to get their attention and get them wanting to read more or watch more or listen more. And to do that, it should be immediately recognizable. This is my ABC headline formula. Immediately be recognizable who the audience is for this. And the audience should be the ideal audience, the ideal prospect for your product or service, your offer. B, benefit is it should be clear what benefit they're going to get by engaging in this message, like what they're going to discover, what they're going to learn. It should be tied to the problem or the opportunity or the prediction. And curiosity, like the headline should not tell the whole story. The headline should start the story in a way that pulls the reader, the viewer in so that they have to keep watching, reading, whatever, to get the entire message, to close the open loop of the curiosity. And then the lead is just meant to, once you have that readership from the headline, pull people deeper and deeper into the message. And so it's an introduction to the idea that is really just meant to convey enough to pull them in. It sets the hook, but you don't want to give away the total of your message. So if I'm like, I don't do it anymore, but if I was writing a spec for trying to get a project with a client and I were to write the headline and lead, I would want that client to, even though I'm selling their own product, I would not want them to really know what the payoff is for that headline and lead by the time we get to the first, the 750 to 1500 words where I cut it off. Like, I'm just getting them excited. I'm conveying, again, like the benefits, the curiosity, making sure that they recognize what the audience is, making sure that I'm expressing my own credibility and believability in sharing this message. I'm backing up what I'm saying with just enough proof to have them believing me. So again, like the hook is the idea really that we're wrapping the headline and lead around. The headline is just enough to get them into the message, and the lead is really, it's setting the hook. It's like making them more and more curious, making them more and more desirous of whatever it is that they're going to get by continuing to engage with the message. Now, one important point of this, and actually I've been susceptible to this, and I've given this feedback even in the last week in terms of copy reviews. I'm actually listening to Stephen Fry read the collected works of Sherlock Holmes, and it's a fascinating audiobook available through Audible. Listening to Stephen Fry and I love how the Sherlock Holmes stories, like, it lays out like clue, and then eventually in the end, Sherlock Holmes is like, and here is this incredible like connection of connecting all the dots that make it so compelling and stimulating. That's kind of the opposite of what you want to do as a copywriter. As a copywriter, you actually want to come out the top with like your biggest, most exciting thing, and then you back it all up afterwards with all the clue. But you come out like, as the copywriter, your job is not to gently compel someone into your message and take them through, and then at the end there's this climax, right? Your job is to get them as excited as possible out of the gate, and then just make sure that you maintain that momentum, as John Carlton would call it, the grease shoot or the slippery slope into the sale. And the way that you actually do that, like the headline and lead, you're just getting started. Great sales messages, great persuasive messages are based on consistent, deep structure. And speaking to that 3 checklists idea that I gave you earlier, the checklist idea that I gave you earlier, I have an introduction to my high velocity copywriting program that's about the 3 must-have checklists for every copywriter, and I'll include a link in the description with this video to that if you'd like to check it out. What do you think? Like, what shortcuts do you use in writing headlines and leads and really capturing the hook of your selling message? Leave a comment below. Let me know. Also, like this video so that you get more content like it. Also, so the magical algorithms of the internet will share it with more people like you. You can also share it yourself with other people who may find it valuable, and you can subscribe here. You can also go to Breakthrough Marketing Secrets to get more content from me Monday through Friday on marketing, copywriting, business building, selling, and more. My name is Roy Furr. This is a video issue of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. I hope you've gotten a lot of copywriting value out of this. I will see you again in your next video. I'll see you soon. Bye.